Hi, and welcome to the land of Ish. Today we continue our series on assemblage and building a new set based on the drawing that I had shown you in my most recent video where I showed how I'm building a new set. And this segment is going to be on how I do paper mache. I approach paper mache a little bit differently than your traditional way of using a balloon, usually as an armature, and using newspaper to cover the balloon, and then eventually you build off of that. What I like to do is I like to use a more stable or sturdy armature, usually out of wire, and I like to use tracing paper because even though it's thin and you have to use more layers, I like its transparency. So this video will be me showing you how I do paper mache and how I like to use it to build up my sculptures. And for this particular project, I will specifically be showing you how I'm building up the set for my new drawing, which I supplied in the previous video, and how I'm going to make this moon, which was started with a wire armature, and I will show you how I did that. Also, I've already created the star because I found this at a thrift store and bought it for like $1 and pulled all the stuff that was on it off and built the finished product here, which is my star with this semi-transparent tracing paper, which I bought at my local art store. So if you're interested in learning how to do paper mache, it's very fun, very light. Also, if you want to make something that you can put a light inside of, this is a really great approach to paper mache. Or maybe you just want to see how my new set is coming along, how I'm finding all of the different elements that will ultimately create the finished product. And it's a lot of fun. And please do like this video and send me a message through my website to let me know what you think. Before we get started on making our set and our paper mache elements for our set, I want to show you something I made a few years ago. This is a bird cage that I had found on the street in California when I used to live there. And it's an old Indonesian bird cage that was in pretty bad shape, and I took it into the art studio and used my process of paper macheing it with tracing paper, and this is what I came up with. You can see how the light passes through it, and it looks like a big pagoda or a big lantern. It's really amazing. I did put a light in it, and it's really very pretty, and I love looking at it. Let's get started. First, we're going to make the paste for the paper mache. So all you really need is glue, flour, and water. I use about half a cup of water to 1/4 cup of glue to 1 tablespoon of regular all-purpose flour. The flour gives it a little bit of body. Stir as best as you can using a chopstick or a plastic spoon. Then take your canary yellow tracing paper or your paper of choice. Tear off a pretty good amount, or at least an amount that you think you'll need for the first layer, and tear it up into small pieces because you don't want to be tearing paper with glue all over your hands. Once you've set up your workspace, you're ready to get going. Now, armatures can come in all shapes and sizes. I already mentioned in this video that you can even use a balloon as an armature to hold the paper in place. This is like a lantern from a string of Christmas lights. I found this again at a thrift store, and I thought it would make the perfect armature for my little hot air balloon. The basket underneath has to hold my little people that I will also make. So this here is what I'm using to make that, and I will eventually come back once the glue dries and I will cut out the top part of it, and this will become a basket. It's always nice to have a good pair of wire cutters when you're doing paper mache. And it's also nice when you find a convenient armature at a thrift store and all you have to do is remove the wire. Because I like a lot of light to pass through my paper mache projects, I'm going to remove all the excess wire from this star-shaped armature until I just have the framework. And that's what I'll work with. Later, I'll show you how you can make your own armature, but for now, we will be working with the convenience of what we find at our local thrift store. Our ready-made star is ready for its first layer of paper mache. The first layer is always the most challenging, and you must take your time and do it right. The consistency of your glue mixture should be no thicker than pancake batter. If it's a little too thick, you can always add water and keep adding water until it's easy to work with. This star will need anywhere from 6 to 8 layers of paper mache. Each layer will have to dry completely or almost completely before I put the next layer on, and I'll know when it's ready when I press on it and it doesn't have much give. Tune in next time to see how to make your own armature, and we'll also finish making our paper moon.